Hello everyone, in today's video I'm going to be showing you my toes. We're going to do a pumpkin toenail art that has an embossed gold pumpkin and it's so beautiful. It's so simple, it's so great. I love the way that the new Madam Glam metallic gel paints work. I have wanted a gold, like metallic chrome gold gel paint for the longest of time, and you don't know how excited I was when I saw that they had one, and it works so smooth. You'll get to see how lovely that does create that finishing touch at the end of this video. And I'll be using a bunch of new Madam Glam products throughout the whole thing, so check for all the description box for all the names of them, and I'll be sharing them throughout the video as well, but they all are so nice. I love Madam Glam products. We're also going to be trying out one of their new rubber base coats that have a really opaque finish. I have never used a base coat that is this tinted, which is a completely new experience, and I think one that would be very versatile at certain points, so that's really nice, and I will see you all next time. Bye!
So I'm going to start just by prepping my toes. I don't do this in every video. I don't show you the prep process, but I figure for toes, I don't know, it just seemed appropriate. So I'm going to cleanse them with a nail cleanser, go through and cleanse all of them. I've already pushed back my cuticles. I gave myself a dry pedicure, which means I use my Russian e-file bits just to remove cuticle. I trimmed, filed, etc. And now that they're cleansed, I'm going to put in my toe separators. If you have a cat, I highly recommend allowing your cat to chew on your toe separators for a little while, because it just improves the whole process so much. My cat insists on chewing on these as soon as she sees them. A different cat than the one in the intro. I'm having aggressive cats. Okay, and then I'm going to take some this is a pH bond, a pH balancing prep. I'm going to prep all of my toenails, quick little application. And now this is the color Ecuador. This is one of the new rubber-based base coats that is super, super pigmented. Madam Glam's website gives it a 3 out of 5 for pigmentation. I would rate this higher than that. I think it is more pigmented. So here we go. This is the color Ecuador, like I said. I'm going to be applying it just like I would any other base coat. It feels almost criminal to be applying this much color over the top of a bare nail with no base coat underneath, even though I know that this is the base coat. It's just a weird feeling. But I'm going to apply this across all of the nails. I'm taking my time. The one thing I do want to mention just in this video, if some things look really awkward, is not only is it awkward to paint your own toenails, it is extra awkward to paint your own toenails on camera and trying not to like slap the camera or cover up the lens or anything. So just bear with me. So I'm going to be applying this. I'm applying it very, very, very slowly. The reason I'm applying it so slowly is, one, there's the awkward factor. Two, though, rubber-based base coats in general are very thick. And typically you don't want your base coat to be thick. So do you want to slap it on and just allow it to be however it is? No, you want to apply a rubber-based base coat with caution, with some slow, careful movements, and with precision. Because as you saw, I did get a little bit on my skin, and because it's my own toe, I use my finger to swipe it off, or my nail to swipe it off. But normally I would use like a silicone tool. However, with this kind of base coat, you really want to make sure that you're doing this very carefully so that it doesn't flood anywhere, and that you do spread it out nice and thin. You don't want it to be super thick and globby anywhere. You want it to be a nice even coat. I'm going to apply that base coat across all my toenails, and then I'm going to go ahead and cure it. And now using the color Vibrancy, and this one is from the Madam Glam House of Mystery collection. I'm also going to use the color Magnetic. So I'm going to apply Vibrancy on my big toenail. This is the one that's going to get the pumpkin, and then Vibrancy on the rest of the toenails. As you will be able to see as we go, Vibrancy is super pigmented. This is a opaque color. It's supposed to be opaque, so you know, that's the plan. And it basically completely covers up the color of this base coat in one coat. I am going to apply second coat just because I feel like that's, you know, industry standard, and it was a little thinner, a little less opaque towards the sidewalls, but it really covers it up completely. That is the difficult part when you're using an opaque base coat like this, is that if that's not the color you want your nails to be, you're gonna have to completely mask it. However, if you wanted your nails, fingernails, toenails, whatever it is, to be white, and you applied a base coat like this underneath, it's a very pale color, and it's going to, you know, cover up the nails discoloration underneath and the area of your free edge. It's going to block all of that. That would be amazing because it's going to create a much more opaque white. it's going to really set you up for success with a full coverage of white. Now using a color magnetic, this is not supposed to be an opaque color. And as you will be able to see, some of it looks actually a little streaky just because I have that really opaque base coat. So for the colors magnetic, and they're from the House of Change. Sorry, I'm just reading my notes. They're from the House of Change collection. They aren't supposed to be opaque. They're supposed to be a couple coats to get that opacity. But just with that really opaque base coat, it did not turn out quite as I would have hoped it to be. So I probably would have been better off applying a clear base coat across those other nails. But I really was excited to check out those new rubber bases. I think they're so fun. And I have a couple clients that I always use rubber base on. And there will be times when I definitely want to use these. So now I'm going to be using the color Vibrancy again. Second coat over the big toenail. Totally creamy. Absolutely gorgeous. I'm excited to see how well the rubber base makes my toenail polish last. Rubber base is great for people that have thin nails or nails that bend. Most people, that's not a problem on their toes because their toenails are strong. That's normal. I am an oddball. My toenails are very bendy, very weak. They peel. I have never had very strong toenails. So and gel polish typically lasts 2 weeks or so on my toes, where most people it'll last until their nails completely grow out. I want to see if this makes a difference. I am excited to find out. So now I'm going to still be using the color magnetic, and this is still the one that is the Korean gel formula that isn't as opaque. And as you saw when I showed the video, it's a different shape of bottle too. It's a little different. This is the House of Change color again. So those Korean formulas. I am going to be painting my pumpkin. Now I was also thinking after I painted the nails, I'm like, is this going to paint? Is this going to cover over my green? And it actually did a very good job. So I'm going to do 2 coats of it. Just add a little bit of a bumpy, about 2/3 up my toenail, a bumpy pumpkin top shape. Tallest in the center, then kind of bumps and tapers down towards the sides. Fill in the rest of that toenail. I used my little detail brush to fill it in entirely, but you could also just grab the bottle brush and do it that way. I am now going to apply a second coat. Those beginning layers in the beginning part of this video, I do want to mention that's all real time. I did speed it up a little bit here just to paint this bit, just so it didn't take quite as long, but I did do a lot of this in real time to show you the textures, especially of like the base coats and these different gel formulas as well as I can. So now here's the second coat. After that, I'm going to use the color ProsperUs, also House of Change. So this is going to be that same slightly less opaque formula. However, for this one, it does seem to be a lot darker. When I did use it on a client, it did take 2 coats to get to be opaque, and it did look very pale with the first coat. But then once the second coat went on, it really brightened up, and it really was the color that we were anticipating it to be. I'm going to add my pumpkin stem, and I'm going to curl that up and like taper it up in, and then create a little swoop, and then I'm going to end this with a curl. My favorite thing about pumpkins is that they have those beautiful curly vines, and on the nails that I'm wearing currently, and if you're curious about that video, I can put a link to that in the description box below. I had to include those pumpkin vines because it's just my favorite part about a pumpkin is that they have the ability to incorporate those beautiful swirls. Now using the color Focus, again, this is still House of Change, I'm going to be highlighting the bumps on my pumpkin as well as the stem. This is a kind of goldenrod yellow color, and because of the texture, because of how they are a little less opaque, it blended out beautifully. I just had to tap the edges of the color and it just smoothed right out, and it created beautiful, beautiful highlights on my pumpkin. It worked just as I had dreamed that it would, and I figured that it would after feeling them and seeing how they painted and applied. But it really made highlighting this pumpkin with soft lines so simple. So in the future, if I need to create any kind of shading or detailing with any of these types of colors that are from that collection, I know that these ones will be a very efficient way to add shading. So I've got the little shading done on my pumpkin, and I'm going to take and do that little bit on the stem, really focusing just on the thickest part of the stem, not trying to highlight the whole curlicue. I'm going to add a second bit of highlighting to brighten just the very center edge of each of those sections. Like I am doing at the end, this is going to have an embossed effect, and I want it to look very bright and dimensional underneath that gold lining. I'm going to add just those little dabs of that color. If I want to blend them out, you could otherwise cure them in more of a strict line. And now I'm going to be applying the color Velvet, which is the matte gel top coat, over my big toenail. This is the one that is going to have the gold detailing. The rest of them I'm just going to leave the color that they are. So after I have the Velvet on top of this one, I'm going to switch brushes, switch bottles, and I'm going to use Madame Glam's No Wipe top coat. This is just their regular no wipe top coat. It's a soak off, just really beautiful top coat. Very good for natural nails. It really makes soaking product off easier. So if you soak off, great top coat. Now this is the gold chrome gel paint, the moment we've all been waiting for. I am going to stir it. You'll see as it's stirred that the gold pigment really does become nicely mixed in. Otherwise it does almost look silver when the jar is first opened. I don't feel like you would have to mix it every single time you use it, especially if you use it often, like in a salon setting. But anytime you open your gel paints and it's been a while, you want to give them a stir. So here is that color. It looks streaky in the jar, but once it applies, it all smooths out so nicely. I'm going to dip my detail liner in, and now here we go. We're going to start doing my favorite part. You can see how the nail has turned matte when it cured, and now these gold chrome lines are going to show up and really stand out from the rest of it, and it's going to finish this off so perfectly. The pumpkin was a very soft look just because of the way that those Korean gel colors worked. They weren't as, intense of a line, but then if you add these gold chrome lines on top of it, it just makes everything seem so elegant and so fall, not necessarily Halloween. I feel like this design definitely plays into autumn as well. Like it works all the way through Thanksgiving for sure if you're in the United States. I also want to say this isn't strictly toes. Like if you're like, oh, toenails, I love this design, but why is it on toes? You can definitely have painted this type of a pumpkin and done this gold embossing on your fingernails as well. It wouldn't have to just be on your toes. So we're going to finish doing all of this lining. This is again in real time, so it's not sped up at all. I think that sometimes that's a little helpful thing to have a video that you can really just see what's going on and see how quickly I paint, which isn't necessarily that quickly. I definitely take my time. I don't try to rush it, and I wouldn't ever want to give anybody the wrong impression that my speed increased videos make me super fast, because they don't necessarily. I don't rush things, especially when I'm doing skinny little lines like this. You have to just trust the process, take it slow, and not rush it, because as soon as you start to rush it, that's when your lines are going to betray you. After I've got the pumpkin outlined, I'm going to go ahead and outline the stem as well. When I'm outlining the stem, I'm not going to take and outline both top and bottoms of the skinnier part of the line. After it kind of goes through the swirl, I'm going to just outline one side of the skinniest portion of the vine. If you tried to outline the whole thing, it would lose some of its delicate qualities and it wouldn't look as elegant. And the whole point behind adding the gold is to add elegance. So don't thicken up that green line any more than you have to. Just add a skinny little swipe of that metallic gold to one side of the vine. I'm going to go with the bottom portions, so that's going to be different on the different sections. And then after that's done, give yourself a pat on the back. You did it. It looks so amazing. You can go ahead and cure the gold chrome. It doesn't require top coat, so you are done at this point. You have this beautiful, really contrasting effect between the matte soft and then the very shiny metallic topper. I love it. I hope you guys like it as much as I do. All the colors will be in the description box below, and my cat wanted to say hi.
What's going on, Mozzie? Well, come here. Want to say hi? You want to do an intro with me?
And that is how a cat ends up on video. So there we are. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you all next time. Bye!